everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. And well, I guess that we have to say congratulations to Salabai for the good news that you shared with us on WhatsApp this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, that was so good. We were, I mean, we did a monk ceremony this morning to bring good spirits, and it happened during the ceremony actually. So, so we decided to keep those monks. We said, okay, we're going to keep those monks for the next ceremony because they, they were good. They were very good.
Oh, I thought that you were keeping them in the hotel.
No,
permanent guest.
So, Mr. Rono, it should come for you. It should come for you, Soti. Huh? I'm sure.
No, we received the confirmation already since yesterday, but we rather start on Monday, Mr. Rono. Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
Our teacher get ready.
Oh my good. So we are back on track.
Next week, Monday next week. Same
back
to you.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, good news. I think everybody, was waiting for it after all those. 9 months, online. Okay, you know what it is. Huh? So yeah, that's a very good thing. And students are very happy actually. We just told them, and okay, they're going to come this afternoon, and yeah, good.
Okay. I think that we should start. I see that more and more people are joining us, and well, for the few remaining school, I suspect that if we start, it will motivate them to join the call. So welcome everyone for this new session. Now that Cambodian members have joined us, I would like to briefly remind our program for the second day of our ASSET-H&C seminar 2021, which, as you will see in the next slide, is very exciting. So we just had a very interesting session with our members from Vietnam and Thailand. And in a couple of minutes, we will discuss our best practices in terms of team management, especially in times of crisis. In the afternoon, we will have a session with representatives from the industry to discuss the future of tourism in the region. And then we will have the national meeting for Cambodian members. So I also would like to remind you our workshop for trainers on green skills in tourism and hospitality that will take place tomorrow. So again, we will have amazing speakers who will share with us their insight on the topics. So if you or if your trainers have not registered yet, please do so. You can still do it. And now let's move to the topic of this session, which is managing teams in times of crisis. And as a start, I would like you to take a little moment to think about your respective teams. And then I would like you to answer one question, which is, how would you describe your team in one word? So because we want you to have a gentle start of the session, we even provided to inspire you some ideas here on the slide, but please feel free to use your own words if you prefer. And to answer this question, we will use Slido. So if you were with us yesterday, you already know what to do. Actually, you need to use another device, or if you are on your computer, you can open a separate internet session and connect to www.slido.com. And I think that Tao is going to put the link in the chat box so that everyone has access to it. And then when you arrive on Slido page, you will see on the top of the screen a blue window where you will be requested to enter the code that appears on the screen, which is 481916, or if you prefer, you can use the QR code that appears on the slide already. So we are going to take a few seconds for this little exercise. Just a few recommendations. For the workload, actually, you can enter several answers. And if you see some answer appearing and you really agree with them, please don't hesitate to repeat them so that it becomes bigger on the screen. And this gives us a better view of what your ideas are. So I see that, yeah, the first people started to answer. I see that 3 people are connected. And I see that we have a youngster with us. I hear that we have a youngster with us. So getting back to the word cloud, team spirit, dedicated, kind, hardworking, flexible, motivated, persistent, calm, consistent, professional. So yeah, I see that we have 9 people connected. So we are waiting for some more people to join the activity. So again, to connect to Slido, you can use the link that is in the chat box. So, but the website is www.slido.com, and the code that you have to use to connect to the activity is 481916, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. Okay, so we have now 10 participants, and we see that, yeah, dedicated is a very important way to qualify your team members. I see that, yeah, things keep moving. We have now 12 participants. So what are the new words? Fast learning, adaptable, team building, collaboration, again, if you see on the table some words that you really agree with, don't hesitate to write them again so that they becomes bigger. So kind, flexible, dedicated. Now flexible seems to be the most important word. And yeah, I can see where this is coming from. Consistent. Sacrifice. Determined. Okay. Well, then I suggest that we more people coming. Okay, let's give a few more seconds to people to write their answers. So collaboration is taking more importance. Share. Persistent, consistent. Flexible is still the key word. Okay, well, I think that we can now move to the next slide. Thank you so much for your answers. This is actually a nice way to start the session. I think that we all agree that our teams are probably our most valuable assets and that they have played an instrumental role in navigating the crisis. For the past year and a half, trainers and support staff have been working relentlessly and selflessly, sometimes leaving their own needs aside. So the question I would like to discuss with you now is, how do we take care of such a valuable resource? And for this best practice session, we are going to use a format that has not been tested so far. So I hope it's going to work, and which will be a bit more collective. So the main objective is still the same, is to foster exchanges between members. And actually, in preparation for the seminar, I asked every member to share at least one staff management good practice that they implemented during COVID-19 times. And all of you have played the game, which is fantastic. And actually, some members even shared various practices. So I have grouped your answers in 5 separate categories that I will present in the next few slides. And for each category, I would like to ask you 2 main questions in order to generate some debate. So these questions are: 1, do you have any reaction or question on the practices that appears on the slide? And 2, is there any other practice implemented by your school that you would like to add to the list? So without further ado, let's start with the first category, which relates to staff safety. So ensuring staff safety for team members is obviously one of the first things that come to everyone's mind when they are talking about staff management in COVID-19 times. And with that regard, 3 of our members have shared their good practices. So we see that schools have implemented various measures, including social distancing, teleworking, vaccination, disinfection, mandatory temperature checks, and sanitizing and masks. So, well, for the first time, I would like to ask the audience, do you have any reaction or question on the practices that have been shared?
Maybe I have one question for Bayon School to start with. For the 15 people, for the 15 people working in project location, so you mean in, let's say, in a room, in a specific venue, must not exceed 15 number of people or 15 people, right?
Mr. Shamron, can you maybe explain how you organize your teams?
All right. Thank you so much for your questions. Okay, so my name is Shamron. So I'm from Bayan Pastry School. So this point means that so all kinds of projects, so we separated into the 15 member each. Example, like in the classrooms. So I'm just separate because we have more than 15 students, and that's why we separate. You know, we can say we separate into 15 member or the students in one classroom. Like example, like the other, like in the office. Okay, we have more than that, and we can separate it. Okay, with that, and all the, you know, like well, the rules that we set, okay, with the safety tips, okay, in Bayan Pastry School during this pandemic, okay. So all of things we trained to all the employee well about that. Like we have a training, but the trainings we have to train the separate also member, like we divide into the group by groups, the students or the teacher or the the office member. Okay, we divide into each group, and it's why we train them one by one. Okay, so in order to make, you know, in order to make a all the, we can say, in order to make
distancing.
Distancing, yeah, you're right. Distancing.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And, all right. And almost kind of like a label that we, you know, we put our stamps, okay, on the wall or on the on the floor, okay, in order to you know, separate and distancing from the students and from the teacher or the staff, okay, staff. And yeah, most of the place we have to sign with the safety distancing, like the sign of the cleans and safeties, okay, during this pandemic.
Thank
and
you,
everything is cleaned. All right, thank you.
Okay, is there any other question? Then is there maybe any other practice that your school would like to add to the list of those that appear on the screen? So really related to ensuring staff safety.
Yeah, I think everything is already good in here, and everyone has social distance, and then they have to allow our teacher, and staff stay at home and work from home. But for our school in Cambodia, we really focus on wearing mask properly, social distance, and also we have rapid tests in our school, and we have our temperature, auto temperature that check, and easy for them to access. Every time they go to clean their hand, washing their hand, in the same time they can do temperature check on those. So it's very easy for them. So yeah, thank you.
Indeed, this topic is maybe the easier to treat because, well, for this there are protocols that have been put in place by authorities. So basically you have to follow the protocols. So maybe we can then move to the next topic, which is about organizing work effectively. So the crisis created various limitations and changed the way we perform our task, and therefore most schools had to reorganize the work to allow staff members to perform and collaborate more effectively. And as you can see on the screen, we have 4 members that share their practices. As pointed out by PSC, communication is key. And in the practices shared by these 4 members, we can see that more regular and collective briefings have been organized to make sure that everyone knew what to do in these unprecedented circumstances. We also see that technology was an important element to help staff work as effectively as possible. So my 2 questions are the same, and they will remain the same for the rest of this exercise. Do you first have any reaction, questions, comment to the practice that has been shared? And I give you maybe a few seconds to read them. So again, is there any question or comment on these practices, things that maybe you did differently, or then other practices that you implemented in order to help your staff to better work together in these circumstances that you would like to share with the rest of the group? Well, maybe in this case, I have a question actually for all of you. So most people refer to technology in order to help teams to collaborate better. Can you maybe give me a couple of tools that you really thought were essential to help your teams to work together, especially during lockdown, but even when staff were able to get back to school? I think that some people mentioned, well, PSC mentioned Telegram. Are there other tools that you highly recommend to other schools in order to coordinate your team in these difficult times?
In Salabai, we use mainly Facebook, to be honest, and it works well as well. Every student have a Facebook account, and that's the way we manage. Facebook works really good here. Yeah.
So even for staff, you use Facebook a lot?
Yes, a lot. And it works, it's efficient, everybody have a Facebook account. Yeah, we use a lot of Facebook. At the end, we try different things, but at the end, we end up with a Telegram actually as well, where you can send content, a little bit bigger. like video and etc. But that's it. Yeah, they are the two main tools we used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I see that.
For portable school is the same through Salabai that Mr. Rono mentioned. The most popular one is Messenger, the Facebook, but that being communicated among the staff and managerial level. But when it comes to the management level, supervisory level for Facebook, Messenger in particular, and Telegram, of course. Then when it comes to the management level, the official platform would be the Microsoft Teams message, Microsoft Teams. So that considered as a formal channel of communication, and of course with the email. But then again, the very popular and instant correspondence means of communication would be Messenger. Like Mr. Rono mentioned, that most of the time we are with our smartphone and we with the Facebook. So yeah, the same. Thank you.
Is it the same in other countries, or do you use other communication tools? I think that in Thailand, Line is very popular, and while in Vietnam, Zalo is also a very common tool. Can we have some sharing from schools in other countries?
Well, in Vietnam, we usually use Zalo for the group, and especially to easier to communicate with teams. So we create some group or personal message, and more than that, we can create some group with students. It's easier to communicate with them. Besides of the share information and manage the workload, I will be high recommend about Sheet, Excel Online. So where we can keep update every information. For example, we are doing the practical training plan. It will be improved on a daily basis based on the experience and classes. Maybe that the first time we have some practical class online. So that will be updated for all team can check the information and improve and put up add on some information necessary. And more than that, we do have academic follow-up of students. So it worked really well.
But so again, the tool I'm referring to is tool really for staff. So do you use the same tools for staff as well?
Yes. The Excel sheet online will be for staff to update the teaching plan.
Okay, great.
For Spoon Cambodia, we in the beginning we try many apps. We try Google, we try Messenger, we try LinkedIn, Telegram, and also other app. But finally, we find out that the Telegram is very easy as well and secure. Our IT recommend to us not use much on Messenger because it's not secure. For example, some information that is internal, if someone can hack our information, especially like code, password number, anything else. So that's why we decide to use only one is Telegram, and the official one we use email. For Messenger, just like free time that they can chat to find each other.
Okay. Is there anyone who wants to add, well, again,
yes,
more practices? Yes?
At ASSET-H&C, we use a lot of Google Docs. So essentially, what we do is, so we use Line as a social media. We have a staff group. We have a group for our operations. We have a group for the internship follow-up. So that's mixing the students, obviously. And then we have Google Docs. So what usually happens is that we create a Google Doc and then everybody fills in. Everybody's very used to working like this, especially for Excel sheets or like all our finance process, for example, it's like this, and all our education follow-up process, it's on Google Docs.
Yeah, I think that, well, Google can should say thank you to COVID-19, because I think that many people are switching to Google recently, either for Google Classroom or so Google Docs and so on, that are so useful and that are actually free for the moment. So Okay. Is there any other comment before we move to the next topic? Apparently, we can go to the next one, which is enhancing team member skill sets. So to help our teams, especially trainers, to adjust to the situation, we also had to support them in gaining new skills. So as you can see in the next slide, Salabai organized a pedagogical workshop for all trainers. La Boulangerie Française offered training to improve language skills, methods. So again, first of all, do you have any comment, reaction, questions on these practices? And if not, do you have more practices related to that topic that you would like to share? I suspect that other schools implemented initiatives to strengthen the capacities of their staff. So please don't hesitate to share them so that you can get a more global perspective.
Yeah, in Salabai, we did this pedagogical workshop, and during the COVID time, of course, everybody had a lot of free time, you know, kind of. So I asked everybody to prepare their lesson plan almost for the year, you know, to say, please, you know, set up your lesson plan. And that was a thing which have never been done before, and everybody worked well, you know, on it. So basically, we know it's going to change, of course, but we have the program for the year, which is okay, you know, before, which is good, you know, because we have to adapt as well to the ASEAN, and I mean the ASEAN, you know, curriculum is quite difficult. So now we find a way as well. So they had a lot of time to work on it, and that's a very good job, which is done for the. I mean, this is something they will keep for the year after, you know, etc., etc. So that's a good job.
But I think that you also hired someone to help your teachers in doing that work.
Yeah, as well. True. We hired 7 students from the last intake, and they were as mentors actually to help the students staying at the dorm. You know, they arrived, they were locked down, so they couldn't even get out of the, you know, of the dormitories. So those mentors, they were very, very, very helpful. They were here to reassure, you know, the students, and then to take care of all the technical, you know, we had video projectors. So we organized some rooms in classrooms, and then students could see their teacher, you know, on a big screen. And so they were here for all the technical things, all to give the uniforms to, you know, we were in lockdown, so nobody could go. Even my social worker couldn't go to the dormitories. So they did an amazing job, and that's and now we're going to keep them. I decided we're going to keep them because they are really involved, and they're all students. So I mean, they really show the example, and they take their job very seriously. I mean, when I ask them to do something, 30 minutes later it's done. So yeah, that's a very good thing as well to do. I mean, we are very happy with them.
But correct me if I'm wrong, you did some pedagogy workshop with your trainers, and you had an expert to teach them about
yes.
Basic principles of pedagogy. Can you maybe share a little bit more about this and what this expert did?
It was more to turn how can I say, to make it more student-centered and not teacher-centered. You know, where the teacher talk for 1 hour and student listen. So it was more really to give a more interactive, having some games at the beginning of the course, and it was to set up a proper course to be able to evaluate as well, to evaluate the students, to evaluate the teachers actually, you know, even in between them. I mean, to see what point you have to, where you have to be better. And it was very interesting. It was, they learn a lot. And then it goes with a lesson plan as well. So that's why, I mean, you know, all together, it's really create a good energy. And everybody is working together. They learn how to work together, to share. Now they can share. Before they couldn't share. Because if you don't have a lesson plan, you know, you don't know what the other one is doing. So they can work together more closely. And and that's very good. You know, everybody knows the English teacher know in a kitchen they're gonna learn how to make mayonnaise. Okay, so he will teach them egg, you know, oil and blah blah. You know, all the words going with the technical lessons. So that was the goal as well. And let's see. Okay, let's see when we start again. You know.
Yeah.
See from tomorrow.
That's going to be the big test.
Yeah.
What about La Boulangerie Française? Can you share a little bit what you did? What kind of training your team received during the lockdown? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, but can you repeat that? It's a little bit
Yes.
interrupt from my side.
No worries. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit the kind of activities that you organize for your team in order to strengthen their capacities during the lockdown.
Yes, as I shared before about the practice class, not the first time we have the practical class online. So we are trying to set up or like to provide some curriculum, not only practicals, but language to like transfer from the offline to online. And during that time, our team had the training about digital teaching training with the Taylor University. And we focus on the student-centered learning, like a system or like the way to teach. So it really worked well. And to improve the curriculum of the like English teaching, practical and technical too.
Am I correct when I'm saying that some of your team members also receive language classes online? I'm repeating it. So I think that some of your team members, they also had some English classes online. Am I correct?
The classes online, what exactly you mean about the English classes?
In English, I think that they get access to an English platform to do some English training.
Yes, you mean like Elsa speaking?
Yes.
Exactly, yes. Like all team do have the access to the Elsa speaking. Am I one of them? So we try to improve the speaking skill, especially pronunciation. Yes. So we do have the like meeting on the weekly basis to review that one.
Okay. Is there any other school that would like to add some more activities that they did for their trainers in order to enhance their capacity during the lockdown, either in order to cope with the lockdown or because, well, there was more time available from their side and you wanted to make the most of it? Oh, I see that Christine is raising her hand, so go ahead, Christine.
Hi, good morning, everyone. We were just lucky to have the School of Media, so we collaborated with the School of Media that will help us actually to have a better video resource materials for our teachers. So it helped them to equip in preparation. Actually, we did that prior to the announcement of the school closure. So it was just very timely that when the students could not come to school, but our staff could come to school because they need some tools to use to create the videos. So we allow them to be in the campus, to stay in the lab and create video materials. And at the same time, they could also do a live demonstration with the students while they were on the distance learning. And at the same time, we also kept our teachers busy with English classes as we are really trying to boost the English competencies of our teachers as well. And we are trying to be consistent in the English instruction as much as possible. So they have a regular English instructor, and they are expat instructors. So until now, they are still continuing with their English classes.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wants to add on that? Mr. Soti, for example, I think that you did quite a lot of work with your teachers also, yeah, to implement your new blended learning project. Maybe you could share a little bit about what you did.
Yes, this is true. Fortunately, that we worked with the ILO project, the so-called blended learning, and this is part of accelerating the skill of our teacher as well. On top of this project, that we are modifying our curriculum to digitalization. In the same time, the teacher get a chance to study about new technologies and applications. For example, part of the converting the offline curriculum lesson plan, for example, like Mr. Renaud mentioned, onto the online one. Along the way, they have learned how to use Genially, for example, how to do animations, how to produce a video clip, for example. This is which they have not learned before. So part of the process of the blended learning, they got a chance to improve this set of skill. So on top of that, two of our teachers, like Miss Ha just mentioned, that we also had a chance to join the digital learning with Taylor University as well. This is another project. And of course, like Mr. Renaud mentioned, we are in the process of modifying the physical classroom session plan to the blended one. So it's a lot of work. During the pandemic break, that everyone had to work remotely. It did not give more time to our teacher, but actually they got busier. And not only that, more chances to learn and tasks provided by the education office, but they have to also really look after the student, because a lot of things happening during the online delivering session. Students accuse themselves, this accuse themselves, that we have to follow up. So back to the improvement of the and the project the teachers got involved. That exactly that I mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soti. Maybe we can go to another geography. Lim, I think that also in your case, you invested a lot in the staff, mainly the staff that was running the social enterprise, also with English skills and so on. Can you share maybe a little bit about it?
Do you mean about when we are open in a time, or in the COVID time?
Yeah, well, if I remember correctly, I think that you told me that you also give some English training to the staff working in the social business. I think if I remember correctly, it was morning English and afternoon maintenance in the social business. Am I correct?
Yeah, when we running a time, yeah, we do. And all the staff member as well. We give the English training, and then every day we have 3 hour training time. We have the 2 classes. One class, because we have the 2 level of the staff member and student member. So we do 2 classes, and also staff member we do 1 classes. Yeah, staff member only 1 week, about 3 days we did. Yeah, and yeah. So now we are in this time we just connection with via phone and just Facebook, but no training because of us. Some of the village and some of the staff member, I know some of the students, they don't have the smartphone as well, so we can do online training. So only staff member we keep connection with. We have the group
Facebook group, and also the current student, we had a group as well. So we whatever we want to connection or we want to talk about that, and then we gonna share with this. Yeah.
Thank you
so
very much.
yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
It's okay. And when we reopen Thai, I think we need more training again, because we are, you know, like a year plus we are nothing. we just at home. So when we reopen the time, we have to be busy a bit for the training, for the staff training and student training, and we have to we have to plan all this. Yeah.
Well,
thank you.
Of course, we understand that the situation in Myanmar is even more complicated, because on top of COVID-19, you have the political situation, which does not help. So I think that, it's already an achievement what you did in order to support your staff during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So,
excuse me.
Yes,
I have a question.
go ahead.
I have a question for Ms. Soti. Because you mentioned blended learning, can you please make it clearer? Because I don't think that I understand the term blended learning very well. What part of the training is done in person and what part of the training is done online? Or is it something that you apply during the COVID time, or you can apply after the lockdown or the social distancing ease?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Pinma, for your questions. Blended learning, because Portable School have identified that this is the time that we have to adapt our curriculum, and also have to be updated. I mean, let me go back to the originality. So one of our colleagues joined the online training on digitalization, coordinated and supported by ILO Cambodia. And then at the end of the training course, there was a competition that everyone can join and to win the prize. And then we was lucky that we won the first prize, which will be supported financially by ILO Cambodia to implement the so-called blended learning project. And then another number two, they went to the Department of Ministry of Tourism to implement the online OPL project, Recognition Prior Learning project. So let's come to the Portable School. So it is the same time that we are on the COVID-19 pandemic, and we decided to grab this opportunity that even though we are a vocational training school, very much focusing on skill demonstrations, but maybe it's time for us to really look into this possibility. So blended learning, meaning that you blend, you mix between the offline and online teaching. So we have core competency, mostly theory, and then we have the functional competency. This is what it has been categorized by the ASEAN curriculum that Salabai, Mr. Rono, is working so hard on producing the session plan. And Mr. Rono, I feel your hardship because we've been through this on this transaction. So for blended learning, we have to choose the learning management system, and then we have to choose the learning platform, the model, where we can insert, where we can upload all the contents, mostly theory at this stage, so that the student can learn remotely by themselves on their own pace. And then for the functional one, at the moment, at this stage, we keep to deliver on in-campus, in person. For example, cooking, patisserie, demonstration at the front desk, making bed by our housekeeping student, for example. And so this is what we call the blended learning, meaning that it's not completely online learning. It's a mix between in classroom and offline or online with the teacher facilitating, and also can be live, can be offline, completely learned by the student at their own time, at their own pace. So this is a mix of this kind of experience we call blended learning. Yeah. Binha, do I answer to your question?
Yeah, thank you for the answer. Actually, at Portal, we also use Google Classroom as the LMS. Yeah, but about the practical part, it is limited to deliver practical training to students. So I wanted to know more about experience of other schools. When you talk about in-person learning or training, how did you do that? Or like, do you have a limit number of students who take part in one class? How did you do that?
Yes, Binha, what I understood is that you are still mentioning the online learning. So blended learning is a bit different.
No, I mean the offline. I mean the offline learning.
For the offline, this, yes, we have to choose your preferred online platform. In this case, for Portable School, we choose the Moodle. It's like a website where you can manually design by your IT team, the IT team at the school. You upload the contents to your own design, to your taste, and then from there you produce the session plan. You have to decide among your teachers, whereas which part of the lesson to be delivered in the physical classroom in person with the student, and which part will be modified and designed to be online. And then again, online is a combination of live learning, meaning that if we use Google, Microsoft Teams, you use Zoom, for example, that's called live learning. And then the online learning that the student study from our platform, you can just post the lesson, upload the lesson, and also maybe a few activities, for example, one quiz, one work project, for example, that they need to discuss among themselves on the platform or on the forum, for example. And then you set the deadline for the result to be delivered or submitted to you. This, we need more time, Ms. Binma. I will discuss with Mr. Blanco, our colleagues who is working directly on this one. We will share you the process and also perhaps the resources and more information for you to understand. Would it be okay, Ms. Binma?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, we will share to you, yeah, directly, or maybe some through our platform, our ASSET platform. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so if I am recapping on the kind of trainings that have been offered by members, we see that there are some common topics like pedagogy, especially pedagogy related to how to deliver online training. We see English. Are there any other kind of training that were delivered to your team members over the, let's say, the 1 year and a half that elapsed?
In Salaba, we had a first aid as well training.
Okay.
For everybody.
Yeah, and if I'm right, you also did some training recently regarding how to take care of students who get sick and how to do tests and so on.
Yeah. So we did a kind of partnership, let's say, with a small clinic, an NGO clinic. So they deliver a course for 2 of my staff who were, volunteers to do that, to be the one to test. So now we can test, ourselves. We know how to do with the proper way. Huh? All students are staying at the dormitories, so we really have to take care. They don't go back home. If one is tested positive, we have to take care. They don't go back home at 5 o'clock, so we have to take care of this. So we did this training so now we are able to test and even to give the the basic medicine and to isolate as well the COVID cases.
Thank you very much. So unless there are more people who want to share about that topic, I suggest that we move to the next one. So for the next one, I actually hope that there will be many interaction, because I think that's a topic that is important and for which it's always great to get inspiration from others. So as the crisis prolongs, keeping staff motivated is also a crucial but not necessarily easy thing to do. So here are the best practices from 2 of our members. So I let you take a few seconds to read these practices, and then we will discuss the same question again. Do you have any reaction or question? And most importantly, do you have more practices to add to the list? Because I'm pretty sure that other schools would be happy to pick your ideas. Well, again, stealing with pride, as Alex said yesterday in the word cloud. So is there any first reaction on the practices or questions?
If not, I would like to have an impression on my own point. Would that be okay, everyone?
Sure.
I suspect that everyone would doubt as well. In point number 3 for portable school, we say provide opportunity of training and learning with international partner using application and software. It's the factor to motivate the staff, but it can be vice versa. It can be the opposite. We've been the staff. We are working, and we've been the staff for the organization. We know it. If new tasks, more numbers of tasks are allocated by our boss, by the upper management level to us, I don't think as an ordinary staff or personally that we are really happy to take on or appreciate it. But here, the reason we put here, because we have to make them understand that this is important, and it will be your immediate benefits for your work. It will help a lot. You make your life much easier in the immediate works once you finish this kind of mission or sacrification. Meaning, in this case, if you get to know the tools and the application, the software that being introduced by our IT team, so it will make your life a lot easier in terms of designing the contents, and also make your lesson more attractive, and the student will enjoy the lesson. So this is how we motivate them. But then again, my point here is that I try to for you to understand that, yes, of course, when we have more tasks, because it take effort, it take time for them to learn. So it will take numbers of hours on their regular schedules and spend their own time to get to learn on these things. So it's not a motivation, but after we challenge them and motivate, make them understand the benefits of this, it become a motivation. Yes, I just want to give the impression on this one. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this important clarification. Is there anyone else who would like to react on the practices?
Yes, I do have a question. I'm curious about how can you adjust a work schedule, like reduce 4 hours per week? Because to be honest, from working from home, the working time is like much more than I can expect, and I'm sure that you have the same experience. And how can you manage work, like work and life balance for your staff during that time, especially like quarantine periods?
Here, Ms. Ha, we are mentioning when they transactionally, when they come back to the campus, on and off to the campus. If they come to the campus in a specific number of the staff, we allow them to leave half an hour every day. We're supposed to finish work from 8 to 5, but they leave from Monday to Thursday at 4:30. Specifically on Friday, they leave at 3. So this is, we kind of provide them like work-life balance. But of course, during the work remotely at home, we don't strictly following up on their time occupation. We only just check up on them to make sure that they are covering the number of sessions. For example, this specifically for the teachers. Let's say they have, today they have 6-hour teaching. So we have the record in the Microsoft team, which myself, as the organizer and the owner of the teams, I can check up on them. Okay, we know that Mr. A is online and he's teaching and he's working with his student. But we are not saying, hey, you have to be in front of the computer for 6 or 8 hours. We don't do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ha. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who want to react? Well, maybe I have a question for Koto, because I see in the practice that you recognize how important your staff contribution is to the organization. Can you tell us a little bit how you do that concretely? Is Ms. Bin? Well, apparently Ms. Bin has some issues with her connection, but well, again, maybe in other schools, indeed, I mean, our staff have been working really relentlessly, and I think that, yeah, this issue of recognition is important. Have you put into practice any kind of activities to recognize the hard work that is done by your staff member, or is it more like something that you recognize in staff meeting regularly? Can anyone share about practices to really keep the morale up? If I remember correctly, I think that Bayonne, you did, for example, a lot of food tasting sessions at the social business, and this was actually a moment for staff to gather and to have a pleasant moment together. Am I correct?
Yes, you're right. So we normally do as the like. Again, please, Sophie, I missed your questions.
Well, I was just asking you to confirm, but I think that from conversations that I had with your team, I remember that at some point your team was doing regularly food tasting at the bakery shop, so testing the products, but it was also actually a reason for people to get together and to have a pleasant moment all together and to really keep the morale up. Am I correct, or do you want to clarify anything on this?
Yes. Okay, so not more as time, but sometimes we do all together, and we have a small food testings from from the other chefs, okay, outside, and they make in the pastry labs, in the lab, and in our to the school, okay, and everybody, we can be the participants join together, okay, with that, okay. And do you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Well, more or less, but I think we got the main message. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
At ASSET-H&C,
okay.
for example, it's something very simple, but at the beginning of every staff meeting every week, we start by something that makes us happy. So we call it the golden nugget. So sometimes we don't have many, but sometimes we have many. And we try, it's a way of kind of reminding ourselves personally or professionally of what we have achieved. And yeah, it's easy to do, but it's quite nice.
Yeah, but that's a very nice and simple to implement idea. So yeah, if some other members have more ideas like this one, that's the moment to share it. Thank you, Alex.
I would just like to share, Sophie, when we were doing when we were on a lockdown. So usually we have a morning briefing with the team, and the morning briefing would be like sharing some funny stories, especially some about the students challenges and some funny experiences while doing their online classes. So it's just to keep everyone happy and still have a positive keep a positive mindset during the pandemic. And then also when we were already back in the campus, we really do try to celebrate simple surprise birthdays to our team members for the month. And at the same time, we give them like a one-day birthday holiday. So it's really not much, but at least it really helps them to know that we are a family, we are the extended family away from home, and we have each other's back no matter what.
I think it's very nice too, and very interesting. Thank you very much for sharing. Is there anything else that you would like to share before? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say a little bit regarding to what we are doing with the Spoon Cambodia, because we are a very small team, and it's very good for us also because we still open operation at Spoon Cafe during the pandemic. So that's why our team gathering at the Spoon Cafe, and they do our business, and we always celebrate the same like Christian. So we try to have food together, we lunching food, we testing before we reopening, and we also have birthday for them to make sure that we still keep our team motivation, and our team is alive on the feeling. And so we have some like team building together, and then we refresh and we always remind each other about our mission and vision. And even though we have very hard situation, but we still keep positive and then walk through this very hard circumstance. And in the same time, single day, we always have a small sharing like food or cake or any initiative by our team. Sometimes it's not by organization. Sometimes we rotate each other to share the thing together. Yeah, so those is make us always moving forward.
Yes, of course, we are about hospitality, so these things should be actually very logical for all of us. You were talking about team building. Can you give maybe some concrete examples of what you do for team building?
what we do is normally. So during, even though some of our team that not very necessary in the operation, so they can stay home and work from home. For example, like they work with alumni training, so they work from home. But we try to keep our team like actively. So we have online a session together, and then we share each among our team. For example, like accounting staff, they have any experience, they can learn us more how to make it effectively on expense on our procedure on expense, so they can share all those. Then our social team, so they can share us about refresh or review about what they best implement the past year and they want to move forward. Food and beverage and survey and housekeeping team also share each session we together, and then we can share those amounts. Especially we focus on our SOP regarding to we operation at school to make sure that our guests feel trust and reliable on our food during this time, because sometimes they don't want to go out to eat. And then what we going to do with them to make sure they believe that our food is reliable and secure. So this is the way that we can do together. And in the same time, we think about we don't have students in our hand during like 4 or 5 months. So if we are ready for student coming, what we going to do? And then we try to find scenario to make to execute to find training for everybody.
Okay, well, hopefully the scenario will become true very soon.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's maybe move to the last topic. We have 5 minutes left. So the next topic is the last one. Actually, depending on the situation, some team members have seen their livelihoods impacted by the crisis. And one member shared with us how they supported financially some of their staff. So as you can see on the screen, they created conditions to allow employees to have part-time jobs. And they also coordinated online sales to allow teachers to complement their income by selling food products online. So is there any reaction or question that you have on these practices shared by Hoasua School? Or do you have any other practice on this topic of supporting staff financially that you would like to share?
Maybe just want to know for they allow the employees to have part-time job, but have some of them managed to get the part-time job finally and earn some more income?
I hope that Ms. Wu can answer that question.
Sorry.
Yes, Ms. Wu, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. The school do the most possible for all the staff to fabric the product and sell online, and with the money they have, we can guarantee the life of our staff.
I'm sorry, but could I understand that the employee do have the salary, like monthly salary, and they have add on the part-time jobs, right?
During the period download, we don't have a source of money, so we must create some job a part-time job for our staff. Do you understand?
So maybe if I can add on, because, well, especially for teachers doing practical trainings, because they did not have much to do, the school decided to focus really on income generation in order to be able to maintain the salaries. And then, well, these teachers really could also practice their technical skills in a real life condition by supporting the sales online. Am I correct, Ms. Wu?
Yes. No, during the lockdown, no student, no source, no money. So we must do our best for earn
Maybe I should clarify that in the case of OASWA, the model is a little bit different. So some of their students are paying for tuition, and some students who cannot afford are not paying. So normally the tuition from students who are paying are financing the education of the students who can't afford an education. So when the training was stopped, actually for the school, they had less revenue because the paying students were not there anymore. And so the school had no other choice than looking for other sources of finance. And then they were thinking, well, we have a great team of teachers who are very good, at food production. So we are going to use these skills so that the teachers, remain active, but at the same time, also we can maintain the salaries of our team. Is that correct, Ms. Wu?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Wu. Thank you.
But is there any other measures that you may have implemented for your team? Some of them may have struggled financially because of the crisis.
Sorry. Sorry. Can you repeat? I can't.
No, well, I was throwing the question to all other members to see if they have other practices. Okay, well, it's true that the model of OASWA is a little bit different from most other members, so the situation is a little bit different, but it's interesting to see how you have been able to be creative in a situation that was not easy, and I know that your sales online were quite successful, so well done. And now we are going actually to move to the next slide, which will be my conclusion for this morning. Again, I would like to particularly thank all of you for having shared your practices. I hope that the session has generated more ideas to always take the best care of our team members, especially in difficult times, but also in normal circumstances. And we are so closing this morning, sorry, and we are going to have a well-deserved lunch break. And after the lunch, we will have a new session with industry players. We will start at 2 p.m. sharp. So as usual, we ask you to be on time. And on a technical level, like we did yesterday, we are now going to close the Zoom call, but we will relaunch it in the afternoon. This means that you will have to reconnect using the same instruction that you used this morning. So I let you enjoy a well-deserved lunch break and see you at 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Sophie.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your lunch, everybody.
See you.
See you this afternoon, everyone.
See you later.
Vâng.